Today, I'm going to be talking about ambiguity. We're going to talk about why it is important to learn to manage ambiguity. We'll talk about how to manage ambiguity. And then I'm going to wrap up with next steps. Ambiguity is so important. Dealing with ambiguity is a skill that is highly desired in almost every setting in business. Leaders and managers, it's an important skill to interview for. It's an important skill to develop. It's an important skill to practice and exercise. It's the skill that allows your company to succeed when other companies are failing. Many times when companies face challenges, the challenges that the company is facing seem like they come out of nowhere. But have you ever noticed that some companies who are facing challenges that seem to come out of nowhere underperform their expectations, and then other companies who are facing the same challenges that seem to come out of nowhere are able to overcome those challenges and outperform expectations? If you look at what's happening on the world stage, no one can really predict what is going to be happening with our supply chains and with the global market. No one can predict when the next recession is going to come. No one can even predict it based on what is happening, what's going to be happening in the Middle East next week. But some companies in our economy are prepared to manage ambiguity, and they're able to continue their operations and continue to be profitable even when they are facing uncertain situations. The key there is their leaders, their managers, they know how to manage through ambiguity. If you see what's happening in the stock market and see what's happening in our economy, if you try to predict what is going to happen next week or next month, it's very difficult to predict that. If you could predict that, you would make the trade, you would make the investment, and boom, you're done. But you cannot predict what is going to happen in the economy. We just don't have enough information. Even if you had all of the information, you would not have enough information to predict what the economy is going to do. So it is so important for our leaders, it's so important for our managers to be able to learn to manage through that ambiguity. The companies that are able to see what is happening in our economy and are able to make intelligent decisions, even if they don't have complete information, those companies are going to create profits that exceed expectations. And they're not going to have to cut costs in a manner that is inconsistent with growth. Think about what's happening on individual teams at your company. All the teams out there, we know we have to be very productive. We're delivering high quality products. We're delivering high quality services. And in order to be productive, despite the challenges that our companies are facing, we're going to have to learn to be profitable and productive when we don't have complete information. We can't just stop being productive and profitable just because we don't have complete information. We have to learn how to manage through that ambiguity. On an individual level, if we want to reach our personal and professional goals, there's goals out there that we just don't know about. Even if you had access to the best artificial intelligence, even if you had access to all the library books in the land, even if you had access to all the information on the internet, even with all of that information, you would not know enough to be able to know all there is to know about the goals that you're going after personally and professionally. And so there's going to be a skill, there's going to be a segment of your success that is unknown. There's going to be a segment of your journey along whatever path you're taking that is going to be unknown. That part of your path that is unknown requires you to develop the skill so that you can learn how to manage through that ambiguity. You're going to have incomplete information. Long story short, it's my responsibility to tell you the truth and tell you the reality of your situation. You are going to experience situations where you do not have complete information, and the information that you do have may be inaccurate, but we cannot let it stop us from reaching our personal and professional goals. Even if we do not know what is happening in the stock market and what is going to happen in the economy and what is going to be happening in our particular market segment, even if we cannot predict the next thing, We cannot let it stop us from reaching our goals. Even if we do not know what is going to be happening in the Middle East, and we don't know what is going to be happening with these geopolitical tensions, and we don't know what is going to be happening all over the world, we cannot let it stop us from reaching our personal and professional goals. We can't. We're on a mission. We're on a mission to create the productivity that we need in order to deliver high quality products and services. We're on a mission to create profits that exceed expectations in our companies. We're on a mission to increase our market share and increase the size of the market. We're on a mission to build these industries and to create a bigger economy so that men, women, and children of every ethnicity can experience prosperity and live in harmony. We are on a mission, my fellow Americans, my people all around the world. We are on a mission. We cannot let lack of information stop us from making progress toward our goals. We cannot let it stop us from making the moves that we need to make as a country, the moves that we need to make as industries. We cannot let it stop us from the moves that we need to make as individual companies and the moves that we need to make as individual teams. We cannot let lack of information stop us. We have a destiny to create. We have a legacy to create. We have goals that we need to go after, and the contributions that we're going to be making to society are not going to stop with us. We have a lot of things that we need to work on. We have a big impact to make, and if we stop the things that we are working on, if we hold ourselves back from the legacy that we're supposed to be creating, if we hold ourselves back from the goals that we should be reaching, if we hold ourselves back because we have lack of information or we don't know how to manage ambiguity, then that will be a crying shame. We will be so upset with the results. We don't want to live a life like that. We want the joy. We want the contentment. We want the fulfillment. We want all of those things that we get to experience when we reach our goals. But we are not going to be able to reach our goals if we do not know how to manage through ambiguity. I believe that the people out there that give me the most stress, the most anxiety are people who are 100% lazy. I believe that lazy people use ambiguity to stop you from reaching your goals. Have you ever been on a project and you got brought a situation? You got brought like, hey, there's an opportunity for us to do something on this project. There's an opportunity for us to do X, Y, and Z, but we don't have enough information about it like we have with everything else that we do. But the concept is there. And you're like, you know what, that sounds like a good thing to go after. That sounds like a good move to make. That sounds like a good process to start. Yeah. And then you hear somebody talk, I don't know, we just don't have enough information. If we had more information, maybe we can commit the resources. I mean, if we had if we had more information, then maybe we can invest in it, but we just don't have enough information. You may have a goal to increase the productivity of your team, and you do not have enough information about whatever it is that is going to take your team to the next level. And someone who is lazy will convince you not to make the decision to move forward because you do not have enough information, but they're only using the ambiguity. They're using the lack of information as a tool to stop you from reaching your goals. Why? Because people who are lazy do not want to work. And they know that if you go after those goals as a team, they know that if you go after your personal and professional goals, then that is going to cause them to have to step their game up. And they don't want to step their game up because they don't want to have to work. And they don't want to look bad for not working. People who are 100% lazy, they will use ambiguity and the lack of information to stop you from going after your goals. But deep down inside, you know they are wrong. You know they are. You cannot let people use ambiguity and the lack of information or incorrect information from stop you from doing the things that you know in your heart and in your mind and in your professional experience are the right things to do. Lead your team. Give them the direction that they need. Manage your team. Give your team the resources that they need to succeed. And do not let lack of information stop you from doing your job. They have a job to do. You have a job to do. Your job is to manage through that ambiguity. Your goal, your job is to make sure that they have clear direction on what their responsibilities are. They have the resources that they need. Your job is to make sure that they have clear direction. You translate that ambiguity into something that your team can work on. Give them clear direction. Don't give them ambiguity when you tell them what they need to be working on. Learn how to manage through ambiguity. In my life, I have seen many times when my ability to manage through ambiguity was tested. I'm not going to go into all of them. I'm not going to share you all of the experiences today. I'll only call out just one. I just don't have the time to go through all of them. When I decided to join the United States Air Force, I think I wasn't like anyone else. Everyone pretty much experiences the same thing. We always question. We're like, I'm getting ready to join the military, got to go to basic or boot camp or whatever you're doing. And you think, I can do it. But right next to that feeling that says I can do it, there's another feeling that says I'm not sure. I don't have all the information. I don't know how hard it's going to be. I don't know how crazy the regimen is going to be. I don't know what they're going to do to me. I don't know what they're going to force me to do. I don't know if I'm going to get enough sleep. I don't know if I'm going to get enough food to eat. There's so many things that we do not know. Even if you're prepared 100, you feel like you're the best prepared for basic training. It does not matter. When you get ready to go into a high intensity course like that, there are things that you just don't know until you actually do them. And before I signed up to go, I felt that. I felt the nerves. I felt the anxiety. I felt the concern, the deep concern. Yeah, I wanted to join the Air Force. Yeah, I wanted to go to basic training. But right next to that is like, there was that feeling like, are you sure? Are you sure you're going to be able to do it? What if you can't? You don't have all the information. Yeah, based on what you know, you can do it. But there's things that you're gonna see that you just don't know. That's how I was feeling. I didn't let it stop me. I said, there's a lot of things about basic training and about a lot about the military that I don't know. There's a lot of things about the United States Air Force that I don't know, but I know what I do know. I know that my mother and father raised me to have morals and principles. I know they raised me not to quit. I know that if I put my mind to something, I've been trained to see it all the way through. So it's going to be do or die for me. Either I'm going to do it and I'm going to get through basic training, or I'm not. But it's do or die. They're going to have to literally stop me from completing training in order for me to be stopped from completing the training. And even if they stop me, they won't actually stop me, because I will literally die in training. That'll be the last thing that I do. That's the mindset. That's the determination. That's the resilience that I had. That mentality allowed me to develop that skill that I needed in order to be able to manage that ambiguity. Oh, as soon as ambiguity hit, I landed. I remember I landed in San Antonio, Texas, and they all lined us up. All these new recruits, we all got lined up in single file line in the airport. And I remember getting my bags from baggage claim, and I remember going outside to the bus and waiting alongside everyone else that was getting ready to start basic training. And I remember seeing the guys that were much bigger than me. And I started thinking, like, these guys are big. Like, these guys look like D1 football players. These guys look like wrestlers. These guys look like they joined the military because they were raised from the time that they were like 5, 6 years old to join the military. And I saw guys that were much bigger than me, and I started to wonder. I was like, I don't know what the training is going to be like, but those guys look like they're going to pass just fine. And if I have to compete with those guys in order to get through basic training, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm cut out for this. I'm not sure if it's going to, if I'm cut out for all this, if it's going to be that intense that these guys are showing up, maybe this isn't for me. And we compare ourselves to each other a lot, and that's just in human nature. And then I remember the first time I saw someone who was a little bit smaller than me, and they were like getting ready to join. They were like in the airport, and I was like, "Oh, that guy's signed up for the Air Force. Oh, okay. Oh, well, maybe I'll be all right. If that guy can make it, then I can make it. If that guy is signing up and getting ready to go into basic training, and he feels confident about his chances, then dang it, I should feel confident about my chances." That was my way of dealing with the ambiguity. I was worried about the training. I was worried about what I was getting ready to do. I was worried about whether or not it was going to be a successful adventure for me. And so I started to analyze the people that were also part of the same situation. And I started to compare myself and my abilities with the people that were standing next to me. And based on that comparison, I was able to reinforce my confidence. And I decided, I'm going to go through this. It's not going to stop me. I don't know what they're going to do to me. I don't know what I'm going to have to do. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm not going to turn around. I'm going to finish. It's going to be painful. I'm going to sweat. I might have to bleed. There's a lot of things that I'm going to have to go through getting through basic training, but I'm going to do it. That skill, that natural reaction to analyze my situation, that natural reaction to reinforce my confidence, reinforce my determination, reinforce my resilience is something that has paid huge dividends, not just going through United States Air Force basic training, but also when I became an officer in the United States Air Force, graduating from the United States Air Force Academy. That ability to manage ambiguity, to see it, and then rely on my determination, my resilience to get through it, it allowed me to climb up the ranks of corporate America as a consultant at one of the big four accounting firms in the world. There's projects that I never would have led, I never would have worked on, I never would have caused to be successful if I didn't know how to manage and develop that skill of managing ambiguity. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about how you can manage ambiguity as a manager or a leader in your industry. It's a different game when you're talking about the things that we're seeing from a technology perspective and the things that we're seeing from a talent management perspective, and how we're trying to find new ways to reach new customers and new clients, and how we're managing ways to manage our own selves and our own responsibilities and our own personal goals. There's a lot of ambiguity that we have to manage. The first thing that you should do when you're getting ready to manage ambiguity, and this is something that I've learned and I perfected as an officer in the United States Air Force, and something that I've learned and perfected as a consultant at one of the big four accounting firms in the world. You first start off with collecting as much information as you can. You'll never be able to have all of the information, but it's important for you to get your information from a reputable source or from the source. It is important for you to catalog that information, analyze it, and then prepare yourself to make a decision based on that information. You have to have some point in time where you cut off and you say, you know what? At this point, I'm going to make a decision. So any information that I have before this point, I'll consider, and any information that I get after that point will be put into the process when it is available at the next iteration. So once you get all of the information that you need, when you're managing ambiguity, once you get all the information that you need or that is available, then make a decision. That first step is collecting the information and analyzing it. The second step is making a decision. The decision that you make is not going to be perfect. You can have a perfect process. You can follow this process accurately, but the decision that you make is not going to be perfect. We hear this said a lot of times in the best units in the military and the most profitable clients that we've had that I've had as a consultant. An 80% solution executed at 100% efficiency is better than 100% solution executed at 80% efficiency. What does that mean for us? When we're managing ambiguity, you make a decision based on the information that you have available. And then once you make that decision, you tell your team, hey, I'm going to give you all the resources that you need. I'm going to make sure that everything that you need in order to complete your job is adequate. And then I'm going to ask you to execute the plan or execute that decision at 100% effort, 100% efficiency. That's that third step. That is so important. Tell your team, hey, be transparent with them. Look, we do not have this information. We do not have that information. We're unsure about this information. Make sure that you are transparent with your team about what you know and what you don't know. Because your team, if you do it right, your team will be on the lookout for that information. Your team will be actually working with you to make sure that you have the information that you need, that you know is lacking. First, collect the information, analyze it. Second step, make a decision. After you make a decision, tell your team, this is what we're going to be doing. Be transparent with that direction that you give your team. Let them know that this is the decision that was made, and this is the information that we had to make that decision. And also let your team know this is the information that we don't know. This is the information that is lacking. This is the information that we're not sure about. Your team is going to respect your transparency if you share with them the process, the mental process that you had to take in order to make that decision. After you ask them to 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 go through that, to follow the decision, after you ask them to do the plan, then continue to gather information. And while your team is working on executing the plan that you have put into process, while your team is working on the decision that you have just made, your responsibility as a manager and as a leader is to continue to gather information so that you can make the next intelligent decision with more information. And it iterates. It's a cycle. It will keep going. You make a decision, you gather information, you make a decision, you gather information, you make another decision, and you gather more information. Eventually, if you follow that process, you'll be able to manage through the ambiguity, and your team is actually going to improve their performance over time. The information that you get is going to be much better because you're making more progress on the goals that you're going after. And while you're making progress toward those goals, you're getting closer and closer to reaching your destination. And while you get closer and closer to reaching your destination, the information that you have available to you, the quality of that information increases. As a leader, as a manager, follow this process. Whenever you're managing ambiguity, whenever you have to make a decision, whenever you have to tell the team what they need to do and when they need to do it, and you don't have enough information or you don't have correct information, it is important for you to follow that process. You may need to engage members of your team to collect information. In that area where you're saying, hey, we have to make this particular decision, we have to make this particular investment, we have to pursue this particular opportunity, you can make a call out to your team. Hey guys, this is what we're planning on doing, this is what we're considering doing. If you know any information about this, let us know. We're about to make a decision about this. Your team is so resourceful. There are so many people on your team that are going to be able to step up in ways that you never anticipated that they're able to step up because you've communicated with them and you brought them in on the decision-making process. I believe this is one of the reasons why the United States military is so powerful. We empower people, even at the lowest levels, to collect information. We empower people, even at the lowest levels, to collect information. We empower them to act upon that information, and we empower them to pass that information up along into the chain of command, their managers, their leaders, and they continue to pass that information up and up and up, and it gets disseminated across the battlefield. That ability to be able to make decisions at a very low level and to collect information and pass that information up into the management and the leaders of the United States military is one of the reasons why the United States military is so powerful. We're able to effectively manage through ambiguity. And it's not something that we just teach our leaders and managers. That skill of managing through ambiguity is something that you learn in basic training. It is something that everyone gets a chance to develop. Times in basic training where we're asked to do things with incomplete information. Hey, go over here, set up your tents, go over here, prepare your defenses. Hey, go over here and do X, Y, and Z. We get told to do things and we may not have complete information. However, what we do know is we know how to follow the process in order to get the mission accomplished or get the goal achieved. Now, there's a psychological challenge that we all face when we're managing ambiguity. Managers and leaders are no exception. Whenever we're faced with things that we do not know, whenever we're faced with incomplete information, our natural response is to be fearful. Our natural response is to go into protection mode. We go into flight mode, especially managers and leaders. Look, there's not a lot of tolerance for a manager or a leader to make a mistake at a strategic level. There's not. If you're a manager or you're a leader and you make a mistake, there are some of your fellow colleagues will be like, "Yo, this guy's got to go. He made a bad decision. He wasted us a whole bunch of money. We lost that opportunity. He completely ruined our future for the next 2 years. He's got to go." All because you didn't respond well when you were managing ambiguity. So if you make a mistake at a particular level, it can ruin your career. So a lot of managers and leaders, instead of seizing the opportunities that are surrounded by ambiguity, they go into protection mode. And it's a physiological response. To get over that so that you can accelerate things in your career, so that you can position your company to be more profitable, to get over that physiological effect of being fearful of ambiguity, what I want you to do is develop more personal leadership skills. Develop the more self-confidence. Develop more confidence in your team. Develop more knowledge of your company and what your company does well. There's a very famous military and strategist. I'm sure you've heard him, Sun Tzu, who made a statement that if you know yourself, you can know your enemy. The knowledge that you have about yourself, the knowledge of that you have about your team, the knowledge that you have about your company's strengths and weaknesses, that allows you to have confidence, the confidence that you need in order to manage through ambiguity. Like, you don't have to know exactly what's going to be happening in your industry if you know what your company or your team is excellent at producing. You don't necessarily have to know what the economy is going to do if you and your team are able to create products and services at an excellent level, because that skill of delivering high quality services and producing high quality products, that skill is going to be in high demand regardless of what the economy does, regardless of what your industry does, regardless of what your market share does. That ability to produce high quality products and to execute at a high level and to deliver high quality services, that that is a skill. If you have that skill in your company, if you have that skill in your team, and you know that skill, then you can manage an uncertain market. You can manage an uncertain industry. You can manage an uncertain economy. You can manage those things because you know your people, you know your team, you know what you can accomplish, you know what your competitive advantage is. But you may see executives and managers, you know right away, whenever they're faced with something that they don't know, or there's an opportunity out there that, there's not a lot of information about this particular opportunity. What are we doing to do about it? The managers that will stand up or that will raise their hand and say, "I don't think we should go after it. I don't think we should risk it. I don't think we should." Those people, check them, because a lot of times the person who is the first to say, "I don't think we can go do it," is the exact person that does not know the company. They're the exact person that is automatically acting risk averse because they do not know the strengths of the company. I was on a consulting project and working at one of the big four accounting firms in the world, and I was relatively low level. I have no problem being an informal leader. And this project, this particular project, was a small project, but it was for a big client. And we were planning on selling another piece of work there, essentially expanding the account, growing the account, creating more revenue. And I remember one time we were in this team meeting where everyone on the project was there. We're all sitting around the table, giving our project updates. And I remember someone saying, "Hey, this is a challenge that the client is experiencing. Is this something that we should consider like bidding on? Is this something that we should consider fixing? And I knew what work was going to have to get done in order to do whatever that project was. And I also knew what our team was good at. I knew our technical skills, I knew our managerial skills, I knew our functional skills, I knew our testing skills on the team. And this particular opportunity at the client would require a lot of work for a regular team. It would require a lot of work. And I remember listening to all the updates go around, and then someone came back to the conversation and they asked the executive, "So is this something that we're going to put a proposal in for? Is this something that you should talk at the executive level to the client and let them know that we're offering to fix this particular issue?" And the executive looked around the table and was like, I don't think we should. I think we should just focus on the project that we're doing right now, focus on delivering it, and make sure that we get all of our deliverables in. And I don't think we should go after that opportunity." And I just couldn't help myself. I raised my hand. I was like, "Eh, excuse me, before we make a decision on not going after this opportunity, can I recommend that we reconsider?" Because I believe that it seems like a huge lift, but based on the talents that we have on our team, based on the workload that we have, we can do it. We can do it in the same time of our original project. And it wouldn't take much for us to throw it in. We'll go through the analysis, we'll go through the build, we'll do the testing, and we'll deliver it on the same timeline. And I believe our team can do it. A lot of people don't listen to me the first time. They usually listen to me the second time. The executive looked over at the technical lead and looked at him. It was like, what do you think about this? The technical team was like, "No, we can do it. Um, it's not a big deal." And so it was confirmed. And then they listened to me. Like, all right, let's put together a proposal. Let's go after the opportunity. And we ended up winning that proposal. We ended up winning the opportunity and expanding the account. We were able to generate revenue that we weren't expecting to generate because I knew our team. I knew what we can accomplish. And when I heard something, even if we didn't have complete information about it, when I heard about that opportunity, I was like, we can take care of it. But if you don't know your team, if you don't know what they can accomplish, if you don't know what their natural talents are, if you don't know what they can do more efficiently with less effort than other people, if you don't know what allows your team to create products and deliver services at a high level, you'll never be able to have the confidence that you need to have as a manager and as a leader to manage through that ambiguity so that your team can succeed, so your company can create profits that exceed expectations. Get to know your team. Get to know the talents of the people that are on your team. I understand people will say, "Well, we hired people to come in. We know what their roles are in the company." That's fine. That's fine. Everyone at the company has a job to do. I get it. I get it. I'm not talking about looking through their their resume. What I'm talking about is getting to know the people on your team and what their natural talents are. Are they a creative person? Are they an analytical person? What is their natural talent? Because whatever their natural talent is, if it's management, if it's leadership, if it is coming up with interesting and creative problems and solutions to problems, whatever their natural talent is, get to know the people on your team and get to know their natural talent. Because whatever they were born with, if you decide to develop it with professional development, you will be able to create a competitive advantage on your team. And if you know what your competitive advantage is on your team, then you will have no problem managing through that ambiguity. When fear rises up, when you want to pull back, when you don't want to risk your career, you'll be able to have the confidence to say, "My team can do it. My team can get it done." We will be able to go after that opportunity. I understand it's very ambiguous. I understand we don't have complete information, but if you invest in this particular opportunity, my team can get it done. But you won't be able to talk like that if you don't know your team. So get to know the talents of the people that are on your team. Get to know the talents that they were born with. Get to know those talents, not just what is in the job rec, not just what is on their resume. Get to know what they are good at. whatever it is that they're naturally born with, develop that talent. You'll be able to manage through that ambiguity, no problem. I said we'll talk about next steps. So let's talk about next steps. You now know you have a lot of information. This session went a little bit longer. You have a lot of information now about how you can manage through that ambiguity and why it is important. Let's talk about your next steps. If you find yourself in a situation at your job where you have incomplete information and there's not enough accurate information for you to go after a particular opportunity. There's not enough accurate information about how your company is going to do well if they decide to enter a new segment of the market. If you find yourself in a situation personally and you feel like, you know what, I lack the ability to manage ambiguity and it's making me procrastinate until the last minute. Or you find yourself in a situation just walking through life and you're like, you know what? I am so anxious. I am so fretful. I'm just so out of it. I wish I could learn how to manage through ambiguity. I wish I could learn that skill. I've never been good at it. My ask for you, if you need to manage through ambiguity, you need to learn how to manage through ambiguity. Get yourself a mentor who knows how to manage through ambiguity. That's an easy one. Your mentor will care about you. They will love you. They will make sure that you know what they know. If you don't have a mentor, get a coach. You can hire someone. Find someone like me that is willing to teach you how to manage through ambiguity, teach you those steps. If you can't find a mentor and you're not able to hire a coach, start reading. Like actually reading, not just look at ChatGPT. No, start reading books about how you can learn how to manage through that ambiguity. I said books for a reason. There's a lot of information out there that is packaged up for you nice on these videos. I think these videos are great. Don't get me wrong. Social media has its purpose, but when you start to open up a book that is written by someone who's put a lot of thought into it, a book that was not written by ChatGPT or not written by AI. I'm talking about a book that came from someone's experiences and the things that they've learned over a period of 70 or however many years. Read that book. There's books about leadership, there's books about management, there's books about managing through ambiguity in businesses, managing through ambiguity in your personal and professional relationships. Start reading that book. Read a chapter of that book every single day and take journal entries of it. Give yourself time to process the information that you're reading in that book. Take this journey to learn how to manage through ambiguity seriously. Then after and while you're doing that, sign up to attend a conference. Sign up to hear people speak about how you can manage through ambiguity. It's not just about listening to the speaker speak. It is about receiving the information that the speaker is saying, right? It's about networking with the people that are in the crowd who are also working on and improving in their ability to manage through ambiguity. It's about creating the network that you need to be successful in your business, the network that you need to be successful in your career. It's about creating that network that you have that spans across multiple industries, different parts of the country. It's not when you go to a conference and you hear a speaker speak about how to manage through ambiguity, don't just listen to the speaker. Also, listen to the people that are attending the conference. Get their information, network with them. They may teach you things that the speaker never even mentions that will completely change your life. It takes a village, it takes a community, it takes a team, it takes a company. When you get ready to learn to manage through ambiguity and you get ready to reach your personal and professional goals, it is going to take a team for you to do it. Let me remind you, you're not just going after your goals for you. This is a race and it's not a marathon, my friends. My friends, this is a relay sprint race. We are going after our goals. We are sprinting after our goals. It is going to take all of our effort and all of our creativity and all of our energy in order to achieve our goals. And when we are finished chasing our goals, when our race is done, Our sons, our daughters are going to pick up the baton and they are going to run. And they're going to run as long as they can, for as hard as they can, until they can't run anymore. And then their children are going to pick up the baton and they're going to continue to run. So the things that you are doing today, the development that you're making today on your personal leadership skills, the things that you are doing today do not end with you. They are part of a legacy that is going to last across multiple generations. You are setting in motion today the things that are going to be carried forward by the next generation. And that generation is going to do their job to pass things along to that next generation. So the things that you're doing today are not just to pay the bills. The things that you're doing today is not just to survive. You are working on something that is much bigger than yourself. Learning how to manage through ambiguity, learning these skills allows you to increase the impact that you're going to be making to society. And your impact is going to move humanity forward. The next generation is going to do what they need to do in order to develop the skills that they need to maximize their impact on society and to move humanity forward. Generation after generation after generation, we're going to be working together to move humanity forward. And one day we will have the type of economy that we need so that men, women, and children of every ethnicity can experience prosperity and live in harmony. It is something that has never been done. I've read a lot of history books. I've watched a lot of videos. I've talked to a whole bunch of people. I've traveled all over the world. I'll tell you this, it has never been done where men, women, and children can experience prosperity and live in harmony. Men and women of every ethnicity can experience prosperity. It's never been done. At some point in history, a small group of people is able to experience prosperity and everyone else loses out. That's what we're working on. We're working for the first time to create the type of economy where men, women, and children of every ethnicity can experience prosperity and live in harmony. And the work that you're doing in your company, on your team, the work that your company is doing in your industry is going to grow the economy that we need in order to create the perfect conditions so that men, women, and children of every ethnicity can experience prosperity and live in harmony. That's what we're doing. If you're not motivated by that, you didn't hear what I'm saying. If you're not motivated by the impact that you're going to be making to move humanity forward, I don't know what you're listening to. It is going to be absolutely epic. The feeling that you're going to feel when you do everything that you can to achieve something that most people think is impossible, it is going to be absolutely epic for you. The joy that you're going to feel, there's nothing like it. The fulfillment, the contentment, there's nothing like it. You can have all the money in the world. You can be the richest man in the world. And you will not be able to have enough money to buy that feeling of joy and contentment and peace when you are able to move humanity forward with the things that you are doing. That joy that you earn joy. There's earned media and there's organic media. That earned joy that you are able to experience when you're part of something that is much bigger than yourself, when you learn how to manage through ambiguity, when you're able to make your team more profitable, when you're able to make your company be able to generate more revenues, I'm telling you that joy that you feel when you realize that you're not just building a company, you're building an industry. When you're not just building an industry, you're creating a bigger and bigger economy. When you know that economy is going to create the conditions that we need so that men, women, and children of every ethnicity can experience prosperity and live in harmony, that joy that you feel cannot be purchased. You cannot buy it. Even if you had all the money, you had all the gold, you had all the natural resources, you had all the rare earth minerals, you had all the land, nothing can allow you, nothing is more than that joy. That joy that you earn when you work your hardest to do something that most people think is impossible, only to find out that what most people thought is impossible is actually possible with enough determination and with enough resilience and with your ability to manage through ambiguity. You're able to make the progress that other people were not expecting you to make. You're able to achieve things that other people are not able to achieve. You're able to solve problems that other people cannot solve. You're able to fix systems that other people cannot fix, all because you're able to manage through ambiguity. And people will look at you and say, how did you do it? You're an overnight sensation. It was all luck. People will say that your success is luck, But really, it's because you're able to manage through ambiguity. Really, it's because secretly, when they weren't watching, you developed the skill that you needed in order to manage through ambiguity. It's not luck. You're not an overnight sensation. You're not an overnight success. You're not a spring chicken. You're not a Pop-Tart. You're not someone who just arrived yesterday. There's a process to this. You're not new to this. You're true to this. You've been working on this for a very, very long time. It just so happens that today you're working on your ability to manage through ambiguity. Go out there and do it. That's your next step. Of all the things that I said, finding a coach, finding a mentor, reading books, going to conferences, signing up for classes, do all of the things that you need to do until something works. Don't stop. Just because you don't know what is going to happen, don't stop. You cannot let it stop you from reaching your goals. That's my message for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to talking to you again in the next video. Thank you.